PSG left Bradley Barcola on the bench for two Champions League finals. Benchwarmer. And Liverpool are about to pay £145 million for him. I'm not joking. That is genuinely what is happening right now. Liverpool are about to break their transfer record for a player whose own club thought wasn't good enough to start in the biggest match in club football, twice. By the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly whether Liverpool should do this deal or whether they are about to make one of the most expensive mistakes of the summer. Let's go, right? Who actually is Bradley Barcola? Because I think a lot of people, including Liverpool fans who are absolutely buzzing about this right now, haven't actually asked that question properly. Barcola is 23 years old, French. Left winger. Joined PSG from Lyon. And on paper, the numbers look genuinely impressive. He finished last season as PSG's second top scorer behind Ousmane Dembele. PSG won the Champions League back-to-back. France international. 23 years old. Loads of potential. Sounds great, right? Here's the bit the highlights don't show you. When the Champions League finals actually arrived, the biggest nights, the matches that go in the history books, Luis Enrique looked at his squad, looked at Barcola, and went with Kvaratskhelia and Desire Dow instead. Not once, twice. Second top scorer at the club. International footballer. And his manager decided, "Nah, you're all right, son, have a seat, watch this one from the bench." That is the player Liverpool want to pay £145 million for. Now I want to be clear, I'm not saying Barcola is bad. He's clearly a very good footballer. But £145 million puts him in the conversation with the absolute elite. The players who start Champions League finals. Not the ones who watch them. So why does Liverpool even want him? And this is where it gets genuinely interesting. When Mohamed Salah left Anfield this summer, it left a massive hole. One of the greatest Premier League players of all time, gone. And Liverpool desperately need to replace that production on the right wing. So naturally, their solution is to sign a left winger.
You're very, very stupid.
I'll just let that sink in for a second. Jamie Carragher, Liverpool legend, knows the club inside out, came out on Sky Sports and said exactly what everyone is thinking. Liverpool don't need Barcola. They need a right wingers. They already have Cody Gakpo, Rio Ngumoha, and Victor Munoz, who can all play on the left. Buying another left winger for £145 million, while Salah's right wing position remains unsolved, is questionable transfer business. And Carragher is completely right. But here's the counter-argument that Liverpool fans will make. And it's actually a decent one. Barcola is so good that you find a way to fit him in. You shuffle the squad around. You play him on the right occasionally. You make it work because the player is worth making it work for, maybe. But at £145 million, you better be absolutely certain. Because that is a lot of money to spend on a maybe. Now here's the part of this story that is genuinely funny to me. Barcola wants to leave PSG. Liverpool want to sign him. PSG want to sell him. They're already signing his replacements. They've agreed a deal for Akliouch from Monaco, and they're in talks to sign Mika Götze from Ajax. PSG are basically packing his bags and ordering him an Uber to the airport. Everyone wants this deal to happen. And it's still not done. Why? Liverpool think he's worth around £100 million. PSG want £145 million. That's a £45 million gap.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock!
£45 million. That's not a small negotiating difference. That's not splitting the bill on dinner. That is almost half a transfer fee of disagreement between two clubs that both want the deal to happen. Fabrizio Romano, who has been questionable this transfer window, has already warned fans not to expect this to be quick. Negotiations are going to be complicated. So let me get this straight. Player wants to go. Selling club wants to sell. Buying club wants to buy. And it's still somehow complicated. This is football. And this is why football is absolutely mental. Let me also talk about something that genuinely nobody is discussing properly. Why does Barcola want to leave PSG in the first place? He's frustrated. He has 2 years left on his contract and has walked away from extension talks. The reason? He wants to be a guaranteed starter. He wants consistent game time in the big matches. And you genuinely feel for him on that. He is 23 years old, he is clearly talented, and his manager keeps leaving him out when it matters most. Of course he wants to go somewhere, he is trusted and valued. But here is the question Liverpool fans need to ask themselves. If Luis Enrique, one of the best managers in Europe right now, a man who just won back-to-back Champions League titles, looked at Bradley Barcola and decided he wasn't good enough to start in the finals. What does Andoni Iraola know that Luis Enrique doesn't? Now look, I'm not saying Iraola is wrong to want him. Different manager, different system, different leg. A player can absolutely thrive somewhere new after struggling for game time elsewhere. But it is a question worth asking. Because you don't spend £145 million without asking the hard questions. All right. Here's my actual verdict. No more messing around. Should Liverpool sign Bradley Barcola? At £100 million, yes. Absolutely. He is 23, he is fast, he is direct, he can score and create, and in the Premier League where he will get consistent game time and a manager who actually trusts him, he could be genuinely special. At £145 million, no. Walk away. That price makes him one of the most expensive players in football history. At that price, he needs to be starting Champions League finals, not watching them. The fee is not justified by what he has proven on the biggest stages. Liverpool's negotiating position is right. Hold firm at £100 million. If PSG won't move significantly, go and find someone else. There are other options. The window doesn't close until September 1st. Because here is the thing about record transfer fees. They come with enormous pressure. £145 million is not just a number, it's an expectation. Every time Barcola has a bad game, every time he doesn't score, every time Liverpool lose, that number gets thrown at him. Barcola is good enough to handle Premier League football. I'm not sure he's proven he's good enough to handle £145 million of Premier League football. Here's what I actually think happens. PSG come down. Liverpool go up. They meet somewhere around £115, £120 million. Deal gets done. Barcola joins. Scores some absolute bangers. Liverpool fans forget the fee immediately because he's exciting to watch. And somewhere Luis Enrique is watching him terrorize Premier League defenders every week, wondering why he kept leaving him on the bench. The fee is too high right now. But this one is probably getting done. What do you think? Should Liverpool pay whatever it takes for Barcola, or is PSG's asking price absolutely taking the mick? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Football Dissected. New video every week. We break down the beautiful game like nobody else.